I plunged the knife into my father's chest before the words even left his lips, twisting it just enough to hear the gurgle that meant he'd never scream at me again. But I didn't kill him. Not really. The blade was dull, the thrust shallow, a mercy disguised as murder in the dim glow of his hospital bedside lamp. That night, as his blood soaked the sterile sheets and the monitors wailed like banshees, I whispered my first secret back to him, the one he'd buried in me for 20 years. The one that made me the family's scapegoat while his golden boy walked free. The betrayal started in a Rust Belt town outside Pittsburgh, back when I was 18, and the world still felt like it owed me something. Dad, Jack Harlan, the self-made mill foreman who'd clawed his way up from nothing, had always preached family above all. Blood thicker than the Monongahela River that choked our skyline with its oily sheen. But blood, I learned, washes off easy when it's not yours staining the concrete. It was a humid July evening in 2003, the kind where the air sticks to your skin like regret, and the fireflies hadn't yet learned to fear the shadows. I'd come home from my shift at the auto parts warehouse, muscles aching from hauling transmissions, dreaming of the community college brochure tucked in my glove box, the one promising a mechanic's certification that might get me out of this dead-end loop. Mom was in the kitchen, her hands raw from scrubbing pots, humming some old Springsteen tune to drown out the TV's drone. Dad was in the garage, the sacred man cave where he tinkered with his '72 Chevy Impala, the car he swore would be my inheritance if I manned up. But that night, the garage door was cracked, and voices leaked out like smoke, low, urgent, laced with that Pennsylvania twang that could cut glass. I froze in the doorway, backpack slung over one shoulder, the weight of it suddenly nothing compared to the lead in my gut. It was Dad and my uncle, Ray, the slick-talking salesman who'd breezed into town 6 months earlier with promises of easy money and a grin too white for his yellowed teeth. Ray was Mom's brother, the black sheep who'd fled Philly after some business venture gone south. But Dad had taken him in like a stray, because that's what Harlans do. Except this wasn't family barbecue talk. We dump it in the river. Jack, Ray was saying, his voice a oily whisper. The truck's clean, plate swapped, VIN filed off. Kid gloves on the evidence. And it's gone by dawn. No traces. My heart hammered like a faulty piston. That they meant was the armored truck from First Keystone Bank, the one Ray had cased for weeks, whispering about how the guards slacked on the night run from the casino deposits. Dad? Involved? The man who'd voted Reagan twice and hung a support our troops flag in the front yard? I must have shifted, because the floorboard creaked, and Dad's head snapped up. His eyes, those steel-gray eyes that could pin you like a butterfly, locking on mine through the screen. Tommy? The hell you doin' sneakin' around? He was on his feet in a flash, wiping grease from his hands on a rag. But it was Ray who moved first. All predator grace, slamming the door shut behind me before I could bolt. I stammered something about just getting home, but Dad's face was thunder. You hear anything, boy? Anything at all? His voice was low, dangerous, the kind he used on shoplifters at the mill. Ray circled like a shark, his smile gone, replaced by something feral. Kids got ears. Jack. Big ones. What if he talks? Talk. I couldn't. This was my family. The only anchor in a sea of foreclosures and factory shutdowns. But Dad saw the fear in my eyes, the dawning horror, and something in him cracked. Tommy, he said, stepping close enough I could smell the bourbon on his breath. You love this family, right? More than that college bullshit. More than runnin' off to some nowhere life. I nodded, throat dry as the Allegheny dust. What choice did I have? Then you take the fall, he said. Simple as ordering takeout. Ray's got priors, he'd fry. But you? Clean slate. Juvenile record sealed. Maybe a year in juvie if we're lucky. We say you were joyridden. Hit the truck by accident. Insurance pays out. We fence the take quiet like. You'll be out before you're 20. Hero in your own story. Hero? It was madness. A fever dream born of desperation. Mom's MS had flared bad that spring, bills piling up like snowdrifts, and Ray's investment was our Hail Mary. 20 grand in chips from the Rivers Casino. Enough to keep the lights on. Maybe even get her that experimental treatment in Cleveland. I could have walked. Called the cops from the payphone down the block. But Dad's hand on my shoulder, heavy as judgment, pinned me. For your mother, son. For all of us. So I did it. Signed the confession at the station 2 days later. After Ray coached me on the script. Joyride gone wrong. No intent. First offense. The papers ate it up. Local teen's reckless joyride crashes armored truck, and Judge Harlan no relation. Thank God, gave me 18 months in the Allegheny County Youth Detention Center. Suspended sentence if I kept my nose clean. Dad visited once. Twice maybe. Bringing Mom's lemon bars and tales of how Ray was turning things around with a new gig in real estate. Proud of you. Tommy, he'd say. Eyes not meeting mine. Real Harlan. Out at 19. I was a ghost in my own home. The mill had laid off Dad in the recession. Ray vanished with the fence cash, poof. To Florida or some scam artist's paradise, and Mom's condition worsened. Her hands trembling, too much to knit anymore. I bounced jobs, mechanic at a Pep Boys knockoff. Night security at a strip mall. Always one step from eviction. But the secret festered. A barbed wire coil in my chest. I'd taken the rap for a felony that could have been Dad's if the DA dug deep, embezzlement traces from the mill's petty cash to fund the heist. Ray's idea. Dad's execution. My neck on the block. Years blurred into a gray haze. I moved to Philly at 25, chasing a vague promise of reinvention in the city of brotherly love. Landed a gig restoring classic cars for a boutique shop in Fishtown, the kind where trust fund hipsters drop 6 figures on rust buckets. It paid enough for a walk-up in Kensington, Rama nights, and the occasional Sixers game on a pirated stream. That's where I met Lena, fiery Dominican Spitfire with a laugh like fireworks and a nursing degree from Drexel. She saw past the ex-con ink on my knuckles, a hasty family-first tap from juvie. Called me her fixed-up Ford. And for a while, I believed the engine could purr again. But secrets have a half-life shorter than uranium. Dad called one drizzly October afternoon in 2015, voice crackling over the line like bad reception. Tommy, it's bad. Your mother's. The tumor's spread. Doctors say months, maybe weeks. And the bills, Jesus. Kid, we're drownin'. Medicaid's a joke. Copays alone are 20 grand and Klimbit. I drove back to Pittsburgh that night. Rain-slicked I-76 a blur of taillights and regret. The old house on Carson Street sagged worse than I remembered. Porch light flickering like a dying pulse. Mom was bedridden. Skin translucent as onion paper. But her eyes lit when I walked in. My Tommy, she whispered, squeezing my hand with what strength she had left. Dad hovered in the doorway, gaunt in his Steelers hoodie. The man who'd once bench-pressed engine blocks now leaning on a cane from the VA. We buried her in November, under a slate sky that wept what I couldn't. The funeral was cheap, Potter's Field vibes. Folding chairs in the VFW hall. A handful of mill widows with casseroles that went untouched. Dad and I stood graveside, the priest droning about eternal rest, but all I heard was the echo of that garage confession. Ray hadn't sent a dime, hadn't even called. Dad claimed he'd lost touch, but I saw the flicker, the lie in his averted gaze. After, in the dim bar across from the cemetery, nursing Flatiron Cities, he broke. It was Ray's plan. Tommy. All of it. I needed the money for her meds back then. He said it'd be clean, in and out. But when you overheard, I panicked. Couldn't let my brother rot. He's blood. Same as you. Same as me? The words ignited something primal. A spark to dry tinder. You threw me under the bus for him? Your own son? I did juvie. Dad. Lost scholarships. Jobs, hell. Lena left when the record came up in her background check for the hospital. He slammed his glass down, foam sloshing. And I said sorry 1,000 times. What you want? A medal? We survived. Didn't we? Raise the snake. He took the cash and ghosted. Last I heard, he's in Boca, living high off flips and foreclosures. Boca. The word was a key, unlocking the rage I'd banked for a decade. I left that night without goodbye, back to Philly with a plan uncoiling in my mind like a bad check. Revenge wasn't a movie montage, it was spreadsheets, cold calls, and the slow grind of American capitalism. I quit the shop, enrolled in night classes at Community College of Philadelphia, real estate law, finance basics, the underbelly of how men like Ray thrived. By day, I slung Ubers in the suburbs, eavesdropping on execs bitching about market dips. By night, I devoured podcasts on white-collar cons, mapping Ray's trail through public records and LinkedIn ghosts. It took 3 years. 3 years of ramen and rage, of watching Dad's calls go to voicemail as his voicemails devolved from pleas to silence. I found Ray in 2018. Not in Boca, but closer, a McMansion in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, across the bridge from Philly. Raymond Vasquez Enterprises, his shingle red, foreclosures, flips, ethical evictions for the down and out. The man had ballooned into a florid whale, Rolex glinting as he hawked overpriced condos to millennials fleeing the city. But the cracks showed, LLCs layered like onion skin, whispers of investor lawsuits in Pacer filings, a trail of shell companies back to that casino take, laundered through car washes and vape shops. I didn't go vigilante. Not yet. Instead, I became him. Faked a resume, Tommy Harlan, ex-con turned turnaround specialist, and cold emailed his firm as a consultant for distressed properties. Raybit, the egoist, mistaking my hunger for ambition. Lunch at a steakhouse in Voorhees, ribeyes and red wine. Him monologuing about the game, how suckers like Dad get played. Family's a liability. Tommy boy. Cut 'em loose. Or they drag you down. I nodded. Fork scraping china. Memorizing the tells, the twitch when I mentioned Pittsburgh, the overlaugh at old scores. Hired on commission. I wormed in scouting foreclosures in Camden, the armpit of Jersey where dreams go to die. Ray trusted me with the dirt, clients who'd overextend, widows strong-armed into fire sale deeds. But I was building my own ledger. Quiet buys through a strawman LLC, Harlan Holdings, ironic as hell, snapping up crumbs from Ray's table, flipping them for profit. By 2020, pandemic chaos. I had seed money, $150,000 from a row house rehab in Fishtown, enough to leverage into something bigger. Dad's cancer hit then lung. Stage 4. The mill's asbestos ghosts coming home to roost. He didn't call, a cousin did. From the hospice in Shadyside. He's a skin for you. Tommy. Says he was wrong. I drove up the turnpike, a ribbon of regret, and found him shrunken in a gown, tubes snaking like accusations. Forgive me, he rasped, eyes milky.
Ray.
He promised to square it. Sent nothin'. I sat there, holding his hand cold, veined like cracked asphalt, and felt the old coil tighten. Forgiveness? That was for priests and Hallmark cards. Where's the villa? Dad? The one Ray bragged about in his Christmas cards, the $3.20 Mill Beach house in Margate. He coughed. Wet and final. His prize. Flipped a dozen to buy it outright.
Cash.
No liens. Cash from where? The heist. Compounded by cons. I left without promises, but with a resolve forged in that sterile room. Back in Jersey, I accelerated, partnered with a shady lender from Atlantic City, the kind who forgets paperwork for a cut. We targeted Ray's empire, short sells on his over-leveraged flips, anonymous tips to the IRS on his offshore whispers. He suspected nothing at first. Hell, he slapped my back at the office holiday party, toasting to the family we choose. The climax brewed in spring 2022, when Dad coded, flatlined twice before they zapped him back. Bills flooded, $87,000 from UPMC. Radiation rounds at $12,000 a pop. Ray's firm was teetering. A big investor pulled out after a tip about falsified comps, my doing, via a burner email. Desperate, he called a war council, me, him. Two cronies in his corner office overlooking the Delaware. Cigar smoke curling like lies. Tommy, you're my closer, he said, pacing in loafers that cost more than my first car. This Margate deal, $3.2 mil villa. Oceanfront. Fully comped. Sellers underwater. We lowball at 2.8. Flip for 4 by summer. You handle the negotiation. Make it happen. And your partner.
Partner.
The word was bait. And I swallowed. The villa was his crown jewel. Unencumbered. The laundering pot at the end of his rainbow. I negotiated. Ghost called the seller with a spoofed number. Whispered about Ray's rep. Nudged the price down. Closing day. June 10th. Ray preened in his Zegna suit, signing docs like a king. But the title search? My plant at the county clerk's, a cousin's wife with a grudge, slipped in a glitch. Harlan Holdings as undisclosed lien holder. A fractional interest I'd buried months back via quitclaim fraud. It hit escrow like a gut punch. Ray's face purpled as the lawyer stammered. Sir, the property's encumbered. Mr. Harlan's entity holds a 51% reversionary interest, contingent on default. Harlan. My name. His eyes bulged. Tommy? What the fuck is this? I stood there, calm as a Quaker. The office AC humming judgment. Family's a liability. Right? Uncle Ray? Cut 'em loose. Or they drag you down.
You taught me that.
The cronies bolted. Ray lunged. Fists flailing like a drunk at last call. I sidestepped, security hauling him off as sirens wailed distant, my anonymous 911 on his embezzlement meltdown. By nightfall, the villa was mine. Foreclosed through my LLC. The $3.20 mil asset now collateral for a bridge loan that covered Dad's bills in full, $127K wired to UPMC. Anonymous. No questions. Dad never knew. He passed in August, peaceful in his sleep. The monitors silent for once. I drove to the villa that next day, gulls screaming over the surf, salt air sharp as vindication. Moved in with a single duffel, the king bed swallowing me whole. But as I stared at the waves crashing black in the moonless night, the twist uncoiled. Ray hadn't ghosted the cash back then. Dad had pocketed it, $15K of the take, stashed in a safety deposit box for emergencies. Mom's treatment? A lie he'd spun to sell the heist. Ray took the blame to protect his brother-in-law, the real snake in the grass. I'd avenged the wrong man. Dad scream, "Get out!" From that final hospice rant, not at me, but at the mirror, at his reflection. And now, in this villa bought with betrayal's echo, I wondered, was I the hero, or just the next Harlan, dragging ghosts into the tide? Word count for part 1, 1002. Note: this is the complete story divided into 8 parts for presentation as files. Each subsequent part continues seamlessly from the previous. The villa wasn't paradise, it was a mausoleum with a view. All glass walls and marble counters that echoed my footsteps like accusations. I woke to the crash of Atlantic waves, the kind that erode cliffs over centuries, patient as grudges. First morning, Sophia Blosk as my muet. I toured the place, Ray's taste stamped everywhere, abstract nudes on the walls, gaudy, overpriced from some Soho ripoff. A wet bar stocked with single malt scotches I'd never touch, and a home office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the dunes. His desk held the detritus of empire, dog-eared ledgers, a half-smoked padrone, a framed photo of him arm-in-arm with a senator at a casino gala. No family shots. Fitting. I didn't unpack. Instead, I booted up his ancient iMac, password cracked in minutes, with a birthday guess, Mom's. The irony, and dove into the digital crypt. Emails first, threads with lenders in the Caymans. Consulting fees routed through crypto wallets. Enough to indict a cartel. But buried deeper, in a folder labeled Legacy, was the motherlode, a scanned confession. Yellowed like old teeth. Dated July 2003. Dad scrawl. Jack Harlan. Admit to masterminding the first Keystone heist for personal gain. Ray Vasquez acted under duress. All blame mine. And signed. But notarized by a hack in Braddock. Ray had kept it. Leverage or absolution. A sword over Dad's neck all these years. My hands shook as I printed it, the laser whirring like a distant chainsaw. Why hold it?
Blackmail?
Or guilt? The kind that festers until it poisons the host? I pocketed the pages. Then called my fixer, the lender from AC. Gino. A Guido with a comb-over and a Rolodex of sins. Deed's clean now, I said. What's the play for flipping? Gino chuckled. Jersey gravel in his throat.
Kid.
With your history? Low profile. List through a proxy. Price at 3.5. Oceanfront's hot post-COVID. Nets you $800K easy after fees. But Ray's squawkin' to his lawyer, says fraud. Wants injunction. Let him, I replied, staring at the horizon where sea met sky in a hazy truce. He's got priors. Make it go away. By noon, the villa buzzed with activity, stagers from Philly hauling in slip-covered sofas, neutral as a witness statement, and a photographer drone whirring overhead for MLS shots. I retreated to the deck, Pabst Blue Ribbon sweating in my fist, the beer of my youth, cheap and familiar. That's when she called. Elena. Not Lena anymore. Her voice a ghost over the line. Tommy?
Cousin Rita said.
The house? Jesus. Is it true? I'd blocked her years back, after the background check fallout. But numbers leak like rain through a tin roof.
Yeah.
It's mine now. Silence. Then, for what? To spite ghosts? Your dad's gone. Tommy. Let it rot. She hung up, leaving static and salt spray.
Spite?
Maybe. But the $127,000 wire to UPMC, that was justice. Quiet as a confessional. Dad's chart notes confirmed it. Treatments extended by 3 months. Pain managed till the end. No heroics, just math. American as apple pie and overdrafts. Afternoon brought the first ripple, a process server at the gate. Ray's attorney in a Prius. Papers flapping like surrender flags. Mr. Harlan, Vasquez v. Harlan, fraudulent conveyance. Seek-in replevin. I signed for it, smirking at the kid's acne-scarred face. Replevin? Small potatoes. Ray was scrambling, but I had the confession ace. Night fell heavy, the boardwalk lights twinkling distant like false stars. I walked it alone, salt air thick with funnel cake and regret, past the steel pier's rusted ghosts and the arcade's bleeps. Margate wasn't Atlantic City, quieter. Family-friendly. The kind of place where retirees walk dogs named Buddy and pretend the opioid wave hadn't washed up on their shores. But under it, the same rot, a dealer slinging fentanyl-laced blues from a bench, a hooker with track marks negotiating under a pier. I bought a hot dog from a cart, mustard sharp, bun soggy, and chewed on the what-ifs. What if I'd walked that night in the garage? Community college. Lena's ring on my finger. Dad's pride instead of pity. Back at the villa. I pored over the docks by desk lamp. The ocean a black murmur outside. Ray's empire was a house of cards, for dollar mill in liens against $2 mill assets. Investors circling like gulls. One push, a whistle to the NJAG on his Ponzi flips, and it'd tumble. But the twist nod. Dad's note mentioned a safe. Not the bank's, but Ray's. In the villa basement. Proceeds secured for kin, it read. Kin?
Me?
I found it at midnight. Behind a wine cellar rack, combination 07-03. Heist month. Inside, stacks of hundreds, vacuum sealed. $200,000 easy. Plus a thumb drive. Plugging it in. Heart-pounding videos. Grainy cam footage from the garage that night. Dad and Ray plotting. My creak in the door. Then, post-heist. Dad pocketing the bulk. Ray protesting. Jack. The kids talking the fall. This is for him.
Dad's laugh.
Bitter. Kid's tough. He'll earn his. Earn? I'd earn scars. Lost years. The drive had more emails from Ray to Dad. Post, 2003. Pleading for a cut, for Elena's tuition.
Brother-in-law.
We're family. Dad's replies, Stonewall. Ray had protected him. Taken the heat as the flight risk, while Dad hoarded the nest egg for.
What?
Booze and bad bets. From the look of his later bank statements. Rage boiled fresh. I'd framed the wrong Harlan. Dawn crept in, gray as guilt, and I made the call not to Gino, but to a PI in Philly, ex-Philly PD, with a nose for dirt. Dig on Jack Harlan, 2003 to 2010. Off books. By week's end, the PI delivered, a dossier thick as a Bible. Dad hadn't just skimmed, he'd flipped. Used the cash to seed a side hustle, bookie ring at the mill. Strong-arming debts from laid-off workers. One name jumped: Tommy's old boss at the warehouse. Lou, who'd disappeared after a $5,000 marker went unpaid.
Cops ruled suicide.
But the PI's whispers said River waits.
Dad.
My anchor. A monster in flannel. I burned the pages in the villa's fire pit, sparks dancing like fireflies on steroids. The flip listing went live that Friday, $3.5 million. Motivated seller, and offers trickled in: a tech bro from Austin, a divorcee from NYC. But Ray escalated: a civil suit filed in Atlantic County, alleging undue influence and breach of fiduciary. His lawyer deposed me over Zoom. A weasel in wingtips, Mr. Harlan. Your uncle trusted you. How'd a garage mechanic afford the down on this?
Hard work, I lied. Camera off.
Villa waves crashing behind. Truth, leverage. But the deposition unearthed Elena again. She'd lawyered up for Ray. Pro bono through some legal aid clinic. Conflict, the weasel asked. She shrugged on screen. Hair pulled back. Eyes hard. Not if Tommy's the villain.
Villain.
The word stuck like sand in swim trunks. Nights blurred into bourbon haze. The villa's emptiness amplifying every creak. I hired security, a burly ex-Marine named Vic, who patrolled the dunes with a flashlight and a Glock permit. Boss, he grunted one evening, handing me a manila envelope dropped at the gate. Inside, photos. Me at the boardwalk. Blurred but unmistakable. Elena's note clipped to it. He's watching. Stop before you drown us all. Us. The pronoun twisted the knife. I drove to her walk-up in South Philly that night. The Ben Franklin Bridge, a steel scar over Blackwater. She buzzed me up. Door cracked. Wearing scrubs from a double shift. Tommy, she sighed. No warmth. What now? Gonna burn it all? We talked till 3 a.m. Her on the couch. Me pacing linoleum worn thin. She knew fragments: the heist, the fall, but not the villa's venom. Ray called me last week, she admitted. Coffee mug trembling. Says you're setting him up. Like Jack did to him. That you're the apple. Rotten core. I showed her the drive. The confession. Her face crumpled. Tears for the uncle who'd funded her Drexel loans with gifts, oblivious to the source.
Dad.
He knew, all this time.
Worse.
The PI's follow-up. Ray had tried to come clean in 2010, post-mom's first MS scare. Mailed Dad an affidavit, implicating both, but had vanished in transit, or so Dad claimed when Ray pressed. Instead, a restraining order, courtesy of a crooked JP. Ray backed off, slunk to Jersey, built his facade on sand. Elena stood.
Fierce.
Then expose it. All of it. Let the courts sort the devils. Courts? American justice for the Harlans meant plea deals and sealed files. And you? Collateral in Ray's crosshairs. She laughed. Bitter. I'm collateral since you ghosted. Tommy. But this. She jabbed the drive. This ends it. It didn't. Next morning, back in Margate, Vic reported a tail. Black sedan. Jersey plates. Circling the block. Ray's muscle. Probably goons from his AC days. I armed up. .38 from a pawn in Ventnor. The weight familiar from Juvie range days. Paranoia? Or prudence? The line blurred as offers poured in on the villa, highest at $3.40 from the divorcee. Closing in 30 days. Then the hook, a call from the senator in Ray's photo. Mr. Harlan, we need to talk. Your uncle's indisposed. Indisposed? Ray'd been arrested that dawn. Federal raid on his office. Money laundering rap from a tip, mine. Funneled through the PI. The senator, sweating ethics, offered a deal, dropped the replevin, and he'd advocate for Dad's old debts wiped, VA loans, mill pension back pay. Pension? Dad's ghost laughed. I agreed. Wired the villa proceeds minus my cut, $720K deposited. Enough for a clean Philly brownstone and a fresh start. But as the closing loomed, Elena texted, Ray's out on bail. Talking plea. Name's Jack. Names. The floodgates. By week's end, the Inquirer ran it. Casino heist haunts Jersey Flip King. 20-year cover-up unravels. Ray's statement. Jack Harlan orchestrated it all. My sister's husband. The man who sacrificed his son to save his skin. No mention of me. The fall guy. Hero or fool? I signed the villa over that Friday. The divorcee beaming in pearls. Oblivious to the blood in the grout. Drove west on the parkway. Salt fading to pine. Elena's new address punched into GPS. But the twist lingered, in Ray's safe. Amid the cash. A letter, to me. Undated. Tommy, if you're reading this, Jack won again. But the money's yours. Blood's thicker. Even when it's poisoned. Forgive an old snake? Uncle R. Forgive? The road unspooled. Choices forking like bad wiring. Pull over. Burn it, or cash the check. Join the game? The brownstone in Graduate Hospital was a compromise. 3 stories of red brick and rehabbed charm. $450,000 from the villa windfall. Mortgage rates low in the post-Bernie hangover. I closed in September. Leaves turning crimson on the elms lining 20th Street. The air crisp with promise or peril. Elena met me there on move-in day. Truck backed to the curb. Her nurse's scrubs swapped for jeans and a Sixers hoodie. Not bad. Harlan, she said, hefting a box labeled Kitchen Ghosts. Beats crashing on Ray's couch. We didn't talk forgiveness, we talked logistics. Her lease ended in October, and the villa's echo had hollowed us both. Sex that night was tentative. Reconnection over takeout cheesesteaks from Pat's greasy. Glorious. Philly pure. But morning brought the fractures. Her shift at Jefferson started at dawn. Mine at the new gig, junior analyst at a boutique RE firm in Center City. Consulting on ethical flips. Irony? My resume scrubbed the con. Highlighted turnaround expertise. Boss was a waspy ex-banker named Hargrove, who eyed my jivvy scar but hired anyway. Redemption arc sell, he quipped. Ray's plea hit the news cycle mid-month. Deferred prosecution. $1.20 mil restitution to victims, code for feds. 5 years supervised. No jail time. His senator pal pulled strings, painting him as the duped brother-in-law. Dad's name dragged through the mud. Late mill worker linked to 2003 heist. Son's silence raises questions. Me? A footnote. Thomas Harlan. Estranged. Declines comment. Estranged. The word fit like an ill-tailored suit. I declined all right, lawyered up with a public defender who'd cut teeth on Abscam. Stonewall, he advised over coffee at La Colombe. Ray's fishing for sympathy, you bite. It bites back. But the calls came, reporters from the Post-Gazette. A true crime podcastu, sniffing miniseries blood. Elena fielded one at the brownstone. Voice steel. No story here. Family's private. Private? The letter from the safe burned in my desk drawer. Unopened since Margate. I cracked it one rainy Tuesday. Hargrove's spreadsheets blurring on my dual monitors. Ray's script was florid. Penitent. Recapped the heist.
Dad's skim.
His own exile to Jersey. I kept the confession to protect you. Kid, Jack would have torched it. The cash? Seed for your future. If you ever surfaced. Don't hate the snake. Pity the handler. P.S. Coordinates to a storage unit in Pennsauken. Loose ends. Loose ends. I drove there after work. The Walt Whitman Bridge toll, a $5 toll to yesterday. Unit 47 was padlocked. Combo 07-03 again, inside. Dust motes dancing in halogen. File boxes of Ray's deals. A 92 Mustang frame, his old ride. And a ledger, handwritten. Dad's block letters. Debts collected. Vig compounded. Lose $5,000 ballooned to 12 before the disappearance. Others. A widow's home foreclosed for a $2,000 marker. Kids split to foster. Dad's side hustle wasn't survival, it was syndicate light. Feeding Ray's early flips. Nausea hit like bad surf. I torched the ledger in a Wendy's lot. Flames licking plastic. The acrid smoke a exorcism. Back home. Elena waited with wine and war stories. Her ER shift a carousel of ODs and assaults. Saw a Harlan Echo today, she said. Swirling Merlot. Kid. 16. Took a fall for his Pops boost. History rhymes. Tommy.
Rhymes.
That night. Dreams fractured. Dad's garage morphing to the villa deck. Ray and I arm wrestling over the safe. Elena refereeing with a .38. Boke sweating. Her arm draped heavy. Your ghosts, she murmured. Not unkind.
Buri hingdepir. Deeper?
The storage unit nod. Next weekend. I cleared it, donated the Mustang parts to a vocational shop in Camden. Shredded the files. But one box held letters. Ray to Mom. Pre-heist. Begging off loans. Sis. Jack's changin'. The bottles got him. Keep Tommy close. Mom's replies. Frail script. He's good to us. Come home. Good? The myth cracked wider. Hargrove gave me my first solo, a Fishtown triplex. Tenants stiffing rent post-eviction moratorium. I knocked doors. Charm offensive, folks. Let's work it out, but the lead holdout. A single mom named Carla. Spat facts. My boy's asthma meds? Your boss jacked the rent 20%. American dream. Huh. I comped 2 months. Ate the loss. Hargrove griped but signed off. Soft touch. Harlan. But it closes. Soft? Or atoning? Elena noticed the shift. Her touches lingering. You're different, she said over brunch at Sabrina's. Less edge. Edge was survival. But Ray's shadow lengthened. A certified letter arrived. His attorney's seal. Subpoena. Deposition in his civil suit revival. Now amped to conspiracy to defraud. He was flipping the script, claiming I'd masterminded the Villa lien with Hargrove's firm as cutout.
Lie.
But sticky, my LLC traces led back to his office printer. A court date loomed in December. Snow dusting the Schuylkill. Elena pushed therapy. Philly has groups for this. Ex-cons rebuilding, but I balked. Instead, I met the PI again. This time at a dive in Manayunk. Ray's desperate, he said. Nursing a youngling. Bail conditions bar contact. But he's leaking to pods. Your silence makes you complicit in his narrative. Complicit. The word echoed Dad's garage plea. I countered with dirt. The senator's campaign donations from Ray's shells. PI grinned. Leverage. But careful, feds hate loose cannons. Holiday season hit like a freight, brownstones strung with LEDs. Elena baking pastelitos. But tension simmered. Christmas Eve. We drove to Pittsburgh, first time since the burial. The old house sold. Raised for condos. But the VFW stood. Widow's warmer now with rum punch. A toast to Mom. To better tomorrows. Dad's grave was snow-dusted. Headstone plain. Jack Harlan, 1952 to 2022. Beloved father. Beloved? I knelt, wind whipping, and whispered the truth. You broke us, old man. But I fixed the bill. Elena squeezed my shoulder. Silent witness. Back in Philly. New Year's brought the twist. Ray's plea imploded. Feds flipped a crony, Gino's underling, who sang on the laundering web. Ray arrested again. This time no bail. Senator scrambling. His suit against me? Dismissed. But not before a leaked audio hit X, formerly Twitter Ray ranting and holding. Tommy's the devil. Took the villa. Now my freedom. Jack Spawn.
Spawn.
The internet erupted. Harlan heist trending. Armchair DAs debating my villainy. Elena's hospital buzzed. Colleagues side-eyed her. Your man's the patsy, or the puppet master? One texted her. I went dark. Quit Hargrove's cold. Cash my 401k seed, $80K. Enough for 6 months breathing room. Hired a media fixer. Ex-Inquirer. To spin victim's son seeks closure. But closure? Ray's storage unit had one more ghost, a cassette tape, labeled for Tommy Truth. Played on an old Walkman from the box. Dad's voice. Post-heist. Drunk dial to Ray. Brother. The kid's solid. He'll never crack. This buys us time, for Elena's school. For the house. Family first.
Time.
The tape ended with static. A cough, the cancer's prelude. I'd been the prop. The alibi in flesh. Fury reignited. But aimed inward. Why protect the lie? Valentine's. Elena proposed not ring. But ultimatum. Therapy or me? Tommy. We're drowning in your tide. I chose her. Session starting in Rittenhouse, DR. Weiss. Shrink with the Eagles mug and zero bullshit. Betrayal's a mirror, he said first visit. What do you see? A fool. A fixer. A Harlan. Spring thawed the fractures. But Ray's trial loomed, May. Federal courthouse in Camden. I testified. Truth serum style. The heist. The fall. The villa revenge. Ray glared from the dock.
Cuffed.
His comb-over askew. Lies, he barked at Cross. The boys poisoned. Jack's blood. Jury deliberated 3 days. Verdict. Guilty. 15 years. As marshals led him out, he twisted. Check the safe again. Nephew. One more letter for Elena. Elena? My gut iced. Back home. I tore the brownstone apart, nothing. Then the PI called. Unit 47? Ray had a sublet. Dropped a package last week, your girl's name. She'd lied. Not malice, Mercy. The package, Ray's final play. Docs proving he'd funded her loans clean. Post-dad skim. Keep him from hating me, his note read. And forgive your father. He loved crooked.
Loved.
The word shattered. Elena confessed over tears. I wanted to tell you.
But.
It was his goodbye. We held. Fractures mending jagged. But the mirror? Still cracked. Redemption? American myth. Survival? That's the real game. Summer 2023 baked Philly into a skillet, the Schuylkill steaming like a junkie's vein. The brownstones AC wheezed. But Elena and I found rhythm, her nights at Jefferson. My days freelancing RE audits, legit ones. 4 nonprofits rehabbing Kensington row homes.
Dr.
Weiss called it reparenting yourself, whatever that meant. I called it sleep without the garage creak. Ray's appeal dragged, his lawyer filing motions like a man stalling execution.
Me?
I ignored the mail. The voicemails from podcasters promising your side. But echoes don't fade, they amplify. July 4th weekend. We escaped to the Poconos, cabins by a lake. Fireworks over pines that smelled like freedom. Elena grilled trout. I cracked beers. And for a night, the Harlans were myth. Till dawn, when my phone buzzed, unknown number. Pittsburgh area code. Tommy, it's Rita, your cousin. Jack stuff from the attic. Auction tomorrow. Thought you'd want first dibs. Auction? Dad's hoard. Pawned by the new owners. I drove back solo. Elena kissing me goodbye with Don't Drown. The estate sale was in a strip mall off Route 51, folding tables under fluorescents. Relics of a life. Dad's toolbox, rusted craftsman. Mom's quilt, faded florals. The 72 Impala's hood ornament, eagle perched. Wings clipped. I bid on the box of photos, $1.20. Petty cash, and retreated to a diner. Eggs over easy. Grease soaking the snapshots. There, me at 10. Gap-toothed grin on Dad's shoulders at Kennywood. Ray at a picnic. Arm around Mom. Pre-heist glow. One buried deep. 2002. Dad and Lou at the mill bar. Shots raised. But Lou's eyes, wary. Like prey scenting trap. The ledger ghosts rose. I called the PI. Voice low over the diner's clatter. Dig deeper on Lou's suicide. Off record. He called back dusk. As fireflies lit the lot. River dive. 2004. Body weighted with cinder blocks. Hands bound. Cops called accident. Dive bar slip. But the coroner? Friend says bruises pre-mortem. Defensive. Your old man had words with him night before. Over that marker. Bruises. The word conjured fists. Dad's calluses like sandpaper. Lou, big guy. Korean War vet. Always slipped me extra smokes at the warehouse. Watch your back. Kid, he'd said once. Eyeing Dad's pickup in the lot. Had he threatened to flip on the side hustle? Paid with the Monongahela's embrace? Nausea, again. Diner coffee turning to acid. I drove the river road home. Bridges looming like nooses. The water black and indifferent. Elena waited with gelato. Sensing the storm. What did you find? Monsters, I said, handing her the photo. She traced Lou's face. Then mine. We're not them. Tommy. Break the chain.
Chain.
But appeals court denied Ray's motion that week. Sentence stands. 15 hard. His lawyer emailed. Client wishes contact. 1 meeting. Supervised. Closure. Closure.
Dr.
Weiss greenlit it. Confront the betrayer. Own the narrative. So August. I crossed to FCI Fort Dix. The Jersey Pine Barrens a green blur to hell. Ray and visitors gray. Shackled. Face sallow under buzzcut. Nephew, he croaked. No grin. You came. Talk, I said. Plastic chair creaking. Guards loomed. Cameras red-eyed. He leaned, chains rattling. The letter you read?
Jack.
He wasn't always bent. War vet. PTSD from Nam. Bottle his medic. The heist? My pitch to save him from bookies, his own debts. Not MS meds. Your mom?
Stable then.
But when you overheard. Jack panicked. Fed you the lie. I went along. Thought it'd bond us, uncles and nephews, against the old man.
Bond?
You skimmed too, I pressed. The safe cash. He nodded. Slow. My cut. Yeah. But half was for you, college fund, sealed envelope in the unit. Elena knew. That's why she hid the package. Protect the pot at story's end. Elena. The betrayal stung fresh, her silence a shield for Ray's ghost. Why not rat Dad sooner? Rattled chains. Blood.
Tommy.
Your mom's. And Jack? He had dirt on me. Philly days. A boost gone south. Mutual destruction. Till the villa. You flipped it brilliant. Harlan through and through. Brilliant or broken. Guards signal time. Ray pressed a folded note into my palm. Smuggled. Risky. Read alone. Then decide. The note, coordinates. Not storage, a cemetery in Braddock. Plot unmarked. Lou rests there. Jack's gift. Headstone fund. Anonymous. Guilt's his only redeem.
Guilt.
I drove straight to Braddock. Steeltown's corpse. Mills' rusting skeletons. The cemetery was weedy. Stones tilting like drunks. Lou's plot. Simple marker. Beloved uncle. Dates 1940 to 2004. No Harlan ties. But the PI confirmed. Donation traced to a mill union pack. Dad's alias. Kneeling in dusk. Weeds scratching. I wept for Lou. For the boy I was. For the father who drowned his demons in others' blood. Back in Philly. Elena confessed full. Ray called from county, pre-trial. Said the fund was his penance. For dragging Jack in. I wanted to spare you another ghost.
Spare?
Or spare Ray. Trust fractured. But we mended with words.
Dr.
Weiss mediating. Betrayal's layers. Thomas. Peel slow. Sessions doubled. Elena joining. Her ER horrors mirroring my hauntings. We save who we can, she'd say. Fall brought harvest. The Impala ornament sold online. $300 to a collector. I donated it to the shop that taught me wrenches. Hargrove called. Miss your edge. Harlan. Freelance gig. I passed. Started my own. Riverfront restores. Flipping distressed for affordable. Tenants first. Carla from the triplex? First client. Her credit rebuilt. But the river echoed. October. A body surfaced overdose. But whispers of waits. Not mine. But the cycle spun. Ray's final appeal. Pro-SE. Rambling filing blaming familial conspiracy. Dismissed. But it unearthed Mom's journals. Sold at auction. Rita mailed copies. Pages of love. Laced with fear. Jack's rages.
The debts.
Tommy's light and dark. Light. I framed one page. Hung in the brownstone study. Elena pregnant. Announced over Thanksgiving turkey. Her hand on belly. Our future kicking.
Joy. Tentative.
Winter solstice. The twist crested. PI's Christmas gift. A tape Dad's. From hospice. Dictated. Voice frail. Tommy. If you hear. Forgive Ray. He tried. The heist? My sin. Bottleborn.
Lou.
Accident. Struggle turned bad. Buried it for us. The villa? Ray's dream. Take it. Make right.
Love.
Crooked but true. Dad. True. The echo broke me, sobs in the study. Elena holding. Forgiveness? Not absolution, but release. We burned the tape in the fireplace. Ashes to wind. Spring 2024. Baby Dew girl. Ultrasound pink. Ray wrote from Dick's. Uncle to your kid? Stories. Not sins. I replied. Maybe. Chains first. The river flowed on. Fractures healed crooked. American as it gets, dark. Tense. No clean wins. The brownstone nursery, painted soft blue. Crib assembled with Elena's curses and my steady hands. April showers drummed the roof as labor hit. Midnight rush to Jefferson. Her gripping the dash. Me white-knuckling the wheel through red lights. Harlow Vasquez Harlan. She gasped between contractions. A mash of ghosts redeemed. Born at 4:17 a.m. 7 pounds 2 ounces. Cry piercing as a fresh betrayal, but pure as absolution. I held her first, tiny fist clutching my finger, and whispered, "No chains for you, kid. Paternity leave? Freelancers fake it. 2 weeks of bottles and burps." Elena dozing shifts. The firm, Riverfront Restores, gained traction. First flip. A Queen Village duplex. Tenants locked at market. No evictions. Hargrove poached a client. Grumbled but referred more. Success tasted like weak coffee after all-nighters. But real. Ray's letters piled. Weekly. Fort Dick's stationery. Evolving from pleas to parables. Con tales turned moral. Like Aesop in Orange. Snake and the Father. One read. Fable of a viper biting the hand that starved it. Only to poison the well. We bit back.
Tommy.
But the poison lingers. I shared with Dr. Weiss. Right back, he urged. Dialogue. Not monologue. My first, neutral. Harlow's photo enclosed, no smile. Just facts. She's got mom's eyes. Firm's legit. You? Reply. Eyes see clear. Congrats. Uncle. Reading The Count of Monte Cristo. Your story. Edgier. Edmond Dantes. The comparison stung. Revenge's money. But my villa sold. Not savored. Elena read it aloud nights. Harlow nursing. The prosa bomb. Wait and hope. Hope. American export. Fragile as stock tips. May brought the podcast a slick millennial from Crime Waves, pitching Netflix. Your arc's gold, Patsy to pay back. Family implosion. I met at a cafe in Old City. Cobblestones slick with rain. No, I said. Latte untouched. Harlow's world stays clean. He leaned. iPhone recording. But the controversy, did Jack kill Lou? Ray's hinting and appeals.
Hinting.
The echo roared. I shut it down. But doubt seated, the coroner's friend. P.I. chased. Hit patered. Retired me and butler.
Pa.
Chatty over Zoom for $500. Bruises? Defensive.
Yeah.
But talk screen. Rohypnol traces. Slipped in a drink. Maybe. River did the rest, drowning. No struggle if drugged.
Drugged.
Dad Simo? The bottle flipped. I confronted Rita, cousin. Keeper of attic ghosts, over Zoom from her trailer in Monroeville. Auntie knew? The rages.
She sighed.
Curlers Askew. Whispers.
Tommy.
Jack borrowed from Ray's Philly crew, Bad Blood. Lou collected for him. Pressed hard. After. Jack changed. Quit the ring. But the guilt ate him.
Guilt.
The well poisoned. Elena noticed my drift, nights pacing. Harlow's cries my cue to rock. Talk, she demanded, post-feed exhaustion sharpening her edge. I spilled, the talks, the whispers. Her face hardened. Dig or bury. Harlow needs you whole.
Whole.
June heat wave. I chose bury, literally. Drove to Braddock alone. Lou's plot overgrown. Placed a stone. Rest easy. Friend. No Harlan name. Anonymous amends. Ray's next letter. Heard from Rita? The river claims its due. Write your book. Truth sets free. Book? The idea germinated.
Dr.
Weiss fertilizing. Narrative therapy. Own the untold. I started journaling digital. Encrypted. Episodes like files. Garage night. Villa Dawn. Harlow's cry. Elena read drafts. Her edits surgical. Less rage. More regret. Where the redemption. Summer solstice. Harlow's baptism at St. Augustine's Catholic ritual. Mom's faith. Dad's hypocrisy. Godparents. Elena's sister. And Hargrove. Surprising softy. Reception at the Brownstone. Cheesesteaks and cannoli. Laughter drowning echoes. Till the knock. Process server. Ray's pro SE motion. New trial. New evidence. Harlan Patsy coercion. Coercion. The coerced. Now accused. Lawyer. Upgraded to a Center City shark. Shredded it. Frivolous. Your Honor. Dismissed. But media splashed. Heist echoes. Nephew's silence or cover?
Cover.
The podcasters circled. Emails pinging. One interview. $10,000 donation to victim funds. Elena vetoed. Our tide. Not theirs. Tides turned August. A client flip uncovered a mini heist. Tenant skimming rents. Landlord framed. I mediated. No cops, community court. Restorative justice circle in a church basement. Faces raw. Story spilling. My boy's sick. Bills bury. Echoes of dad. But I steer different. Payment plans. Not waits. Ray wrote. Heard you the fixer now. Proud or penance? Penance. Harlow's first word. Duh. In September. Gummy grin, melting me. I wrote back. Both. Send fables for her library. Fall foliage. We road tripped the turnpike. Pittsburgh Dieter. VFW rebuilt post-fire. Toasted Lou with Iron City. Widows sharing mill yarns. Jack was tough. But fair, till the end. Fair?
The letzte Lied.
November chill. The untold crested. PI's final bill. A flash drive. Dad's VA psych evals. FOI aid. PTSD diagnosis. 1985. Patient exhibits violent ideation. Substance dependency. Risk to self/others. Notes. Harlan denies harm, claims accidents in civilian life. Accidents. Lou's rohypnol slip. The river's due. I confronted the mirror, stubble graying. Eyes dad steel and shattered it. Glass shards like truths. Elena found me sweeping. Harlow on hip. Enough, she said. Burn the drive. We're tides. Not anchors. Burned it in the backyard fire pit. Flames devouring pixels. December. Ray's appeal oral args. Virtual. I tuned in anonymous. His voice. Shackled. Coerced by blood. Jack's threats. Tommy's silence. Judge. Speculation. Denied.
Denied.
New Year's. Brownstone aglow. Harlow toddling. Elena pregnant again, boy. Maybe. The echo? Faint. Like river recede. But the untold lingers. In fables Ray sends. In Harlow's questions yet unasked. Tides pull. But we swim, crooked, but together. 2025 dawned windy. Gales off the Atlantic rattling brownstone windows like impatient ghosts. Harlow too now. Terror in pigtails. Her dead demands a daily gauntlet of puzzles and playgrounds. Elena back full-time at Jefferson. Her residency glow-dimmed by admin BS, insurance denials. Tommy, it's heist by paperwork. I nodded, stirring oatmeal. But my mind wandered to wins. Ray's appeals exhausted. Transfer to low SEC in Danbury. Visit, his last letter pressed. Enclosed a drawing, Harlow's age. A snake shedding skin. Visit.
DR.
Weiss mediated. Winds carry change. Face it, or it howls. Elena concurred. Babysitter booked. February drive to Connecticut. 95 a slog of salt trucks and semis. Danbury's woods bare as bones. FCI medium. Chainlink and drones. Ray and civvies khakis. Polo, aged but unbowed. Nephew, he said. Handshake firm through plexi. Winds brought you. Closure, I replied. Voice steady. Harlow asks Uncle Ray. Stories only. He chuckled. Lines deepening. Fairy tales.
Then.
The wind and the wolf. Wolf howls threats. Wind whispers back. Parable for dad. Rages as howls. My silence the breeze eroding stone. Jack loved you fierce. Crooked path. The Rohypnol? His VA script. Sleep aid. Slipped it to Lou in temper. Regret drowned it. Regret. The wind whispered confirmation. PI's final trace. Pharmacy logs matching the night. Accident amplified by guilt. Why protect him? I asked. Plexi fogging. Blood wind, Ray said. Your mom's. And you, the boy who took the gale for us. Villa was my howl back. But you turned it to Zephyr. Zephyr. Poetic for a con.
We talked 2 hours his library job.
Prison yoga. Plans for parole board 2028. Advocate, he asked. Eyes mom's brown. Maybe, I said. Winds shift. Back in Philly. Winds whip change. Riverfront landed a grant. HUD funds for North Philly rehabs. Ethical flips with tenant buy-ins. Hargrove partnered. His wasp polish my street cred. You're the wind at my back. Harlan, he joked over lunch at Zahav. Hummus silky. Politics sour. But whispers grew. A letter from Lou's sister. Post-story leak. Knew Jack did it. Silence for the Union. Mills dying. No heroes. Enclosed. Lou's medal. Korean service. Tarnished brass. I framed it in the study. Beside mom's journal page. Whispers to Harlow. Uncle Lou is brave. Spring equinox. Elena's belly swelling boy. Kicking fierce. We weekend in Margate. Villa long sold, but beach memory haunted. Boardwalk walks. Harlow chasing gulls. Elena's hand in mine. Whispers here, she asked. Surf roaring. Regrets, I admitted. Ray's clean now? Or scheming? She squeezed. Wind tells. Trust your read. Read. Ray's next parcel. Books for Harlow. The Wind in the Willows. Inscribed. To the little whirlwind. Adventure awaits. No chains. Love. You are. No schemes. Just surrender. April showers unearth more. Auction house call. Dad's Impala. Seized in Ray's raid. Auction federal. I bid. Won at $28,000. Restored at Summers. Garage in the brownstone backyard. Harlow helping with wrenches too big. First drive. Father's Day. Top down on Kelly Drive. Wind in her hair. Her giggles drowning ghosts. Summer Solstice podcaster resurfaced. Sequel EP. Ray's redemption arc. I countered. Guest spot for Lou's fund. Scholarships for mill kids. He bid. $15,000 raised. Aired neutral. Harlan wins. From heist to healing. Healing? Whispers debated online. Harlan redemption split. Some patsy propaganda. Others family fixer. Elena monitored. Deleting trolls. Our wind. Not storm. Fall harvest. Boy born. Jack Visquez Harlan. Irony named for the gale. Labor smoother. Cries softer. Nursery shared. Siblings squabbling already. Ray wrote. Jack Jr.? Bold. Teach him straight winds. Straight. November winds held a storm. Nor'easter flooding the Schuylkill. Brownstone basement sump-pumped. In the chaos. A leak. Old box from storage. Dad's war letters home. Nom's wind took my soul. Marie. Tommy's my anchor. Anchored, dragged. But love true. Dr. Weiss closed sessions. Whispers quiet. You're the voice now. Graduated. Elena and I toasted with Manischewitz. Passover early. Winter whispers peaked. Ray's parole hearing advanced. Good behavior. Victim restitution paid. His flips liquidated. Board date January 26. Attend, he asked via counsel. Wins held decision. I wrote, yes. For Harlow's Tales. New Year's. Brownstone festive. Kids asleep. Elena and I on the roof deck, city lights twinkling. Wind gentle. Tides and winds, she murmured. We navigated. Navigated. But the untold? In Jack Jr.'s coup. A whisper, cycles break. But echoes linger. American wind, fierce. Free. Forever whispering what-ifs. January 2026 stormed in. Gales bending the elms outside the brownstone like supplicants. Harlow 3. Jack 1. Chaos and diapers and demands. Elena's maternity leave a blur of bottles and board books. Riverfront thrived. 5 rehabs under belt. HUD praising Harlan model for tenant equity. Hargrove invested. His firm rebranded Windward Partners. My veto ignored. But wins carry. Ray's parole loomed. Hearings set for the 15th. Danbury Courthouse, a gray slab and slush. I drove solo. Elena kissing goodbye. Fair winds. Tommy. For all ghosts. The boardroom sterile. Panel of suits and shrinks. Ray and tie. Cuffed but composed. Statement. Mr. Vasquez, chairwoman prompted. He stood. Voice steady. 20 years ago. I chose wrong, greed over blood. Jack Harlan, my brother-in-law, pulled the trigger on a heist I enabled. His son, Thomas, here today, took the fall. A boy's life bent by our storm. I've paid. Time. Restitution. Soul searching. Parole? To rebuild. Not repeat. For my niece. Nephew, Harlow. Jack Jr., Clean wins.
Clean.
My turn. Victim impact. Mike heavy. Ray betrayed trust mine.
Families.
But storms pass. He's owned it. I've witnessed change. Recommend release. Supervised. With amends. Lies? No, truth. Jagged. Board nodded. Recessed. Verdict afternoon. Granted. 6 months supervised. Halfway house in Newark. Ray's eyes met mine post-hearing. Through bars. Thank you. Nephew. Dinner? When free.
Free.
Drove back wind-lashed. Radio blasting Springsteen. Thunder Road. Escape anthem. Elena waited with Stu.
Kids Abed.
Granted, she asked.
Yes.
Wind shift. We talked late. Her fears. Snake in the grass? My hopes. Shed skin. Spring thawed horizons. But storms brewed. Ray released March 1st.
Newark address.
Job at a auto parts chain. Ironies wink. First dinner April. Neutral Italian in Journal Square. Linguini von Gol. Tension thick as garlic. Harlow on booster. Jack in high chair. Elena watchful. Ray doted spooning pasta. Fable spun. Once a storm cloud met a rainbow. Harlow giggled. Jack smeared sauce. Post-meal walk. Jersey City lights reflecting Hudson oily. Thanks for the wind, Ray said. Hands in pockets, no Rolex. Halfway's hell classes.
Checks.
But free.
Free.
Amends. I pressed. Stroller wheels clicking. He nodded. Lose fund. $10K for my cut. And Jack. A letter. For the boy. Handed envelope.
Sealed.
Inside. Later. Dad's scrawl. Pre-cancer. To my grandson, storms come, but horizons clear. Be straight. Unlike Gramps.
Love.
Pop. Horizons. Elena read. Teared. Keep it. Cycles whisper. Not scream. Firm grew. Windward's first big, South Philly block. Foreclosed post-flood. Tenants displaced. I led buyout. Community land trust model, no evictions. Equity shares. Press sniffed. Inquirer profile. From heist heir to housing hero. Controversy flared. Harlan hypocrite trending. Ray's past dredged. Con uncle free while victims wait.
Storms.
Podcasta emailed. Reunion EP? Drama gold. Ignored. But a victim surfaced. Lou's sister again. Coffee at La Colombe. Parole sticks, she said. Stirring. But Jack Shadow?
Long.
You fighting it. Fighting. Building over it, I replied. Donated her legal aid fee. Class action on mill asbestos. Dad's legacy poison. Summer solstice. Family picnic at Pat's Hill, Philly skyline hazy. Kids chasing frisbees. Ray invited. Elena's nod. He arrived in polo. Potato salad in hand. Normie camouflage. Games ensued. Harlow on his shoulders. Jack teething a hot dog. Whispers to me. Counseling mandatory group for white collar. Eye-opening. Jack's like us. Broken by the grind.
Grind.
Evening bonfire. Sparks to stars. Elena sang lullabies. Ray joined baritone. Old Sinatra. Storm? Or horizon? Fall equinox. Boycotts hit windward. Activist group River Victims United. Picketing a site. Harlan Blood Money. Led by Carla's cousin. Heist ripple. Hargrove panicked. PR nightmare. Tom. I met them. Site fence. Coffeed hands. Hear you. Equity audit. Profits to fund. They wavered. Deals struck. Headline softened. Harlan compromises. Compromise. Ray's first unsupervised visit. Brownstone Thanksgiving. Turkey dry, but talk deep. Miss the game? I asked. Dishes soaking. Game's rigged, he said. Now? Straight work, parts clerk. Boring beautiful. To kids, Uncle's storm stories tamed. Tamed. December. Elena's promotion, head nurse. Our expansion. Celebration at Sabrina's. Harlow's cake smash. Jack's first steps. Ray gifted books, wind-themed. Inscribed. Horizon clear? But storms horizoned. Feds reopened heist file. New DA. Election year. Cold case sweep. Subpoena for Ray. Me. Testimony redux. Lawyer prepped. Stick to script. Coercion. Not conspiracy. Hearing January 27. Courthouse, wind-whipped. DA grilled. Vasquez free. Harlan firm booms. Quid pro? No, Ray barked. Penance paid. Me. Storms weathered. Move on. Dismissed. Insufficient. But whispers roared. Podcast surge. Book deal offers. DR. Weiss. Horizon's yours, write it. Wrote. Manuscript outline. Winds of Betrayal. Memoir. Not manifesto. Agent bit. Controversial gold. Gray heroes. Gray. Spring. Harlow preschool. Jack toddling. Ray's halfway graduated. Apartment in Elizabeth. Straight job steady. Dinners monthly. Fables evolving. Storm and the sailor. Navigate. Don't drown. Navigate. Summer. Villa Beach revisit. Rented condo. Not owned. Waves crashed. Kids built castles. Elena and Ray talked MS research, her donation drive. Storm? Shared. Fall. Book deal inked. Advance $50,000. Windward seed. Controversy. Pre-pub leaks. Boycott Harlan. Glorifies crime. Defenders. Survivors' truth. Truth. Horizon stormy. But we sailed, crooked keel. Full sails. 2027's dawn broke, debris strewn. Nor'easter remnants littering the Schuylkill banks like confetti from a funeral. Harlow 4. Articulate terror. Duh. Why winds howl? Jack 2. Echo in miniature. Elena's ER thrown steady. Her Harlan wing plaque a quiet win. Windward. 10 projects. National buzz. HUD panel invite. Ethical empire. Hargrove knighted me partner. I accepted. Wins fair. Ray integrated. Elizabeth walk up. Parts manager promotion. AA meetings thrice weekly. Granduncle role. Park days. Story hours. Harlow's favorite. Uncle Ray's whirlwinds. No slips. Random tests clean. Counselors nod. Model Piroli. Book pubbed fall. Winds of Betrayal. A Harlan reckoning. Launch at Union League. Suits and scribes. Elena radiant in red. Kids in tow. Readings raw. Garage creak. Villa twist. River whispers. Q&A thorny. Hero or enabler? A widow asked. Lose kin. Neither, I said. Survivor. Debris clears for dawn. Reviews split NYT. Gripping gray morality. Fox. Crime family whitewash. Sales soared. Controversy fuel. Tour booked. Pittsburgh. Jersey. DC. Ray attended opening. Proud. Nephew. Your wind. My echo. Echo. Post her. Royalties funded Lou's scholarships. 5 mil kids. Tools and tuition. Carla's boy first recipient. Handshake at ceremony. Thanks, Mr.
Harlan.
For not drowning us. Drowning. Winter solstice. Family Cape May, beaches barren. Winds biting but building. Bonfire tales. Ray's fables. My chapters read aloud. Harlow. Dawes storm? Tamed. Jack clapped. Sauce smeared. Tamed. DA's office called pre-holidays file closed. Insufficient merit. Storm passed. New Year's resolution. Expand windward east. Jersey Co-op. Ray consulting pro bono. His flips lessons laundered legit. Spring equinox. Elena pregnant third. Last hurrah, she laughed. Ultrasound wand waving. Boy again. River middle name. Harlow's school play, The Wind and the Willow. Her as whirlwind. Ray front row.
Teary.
Summer. Debris cleared. Brownstone Edition studio for writing. Walls lined with letters. Dad's. Ray's. Mom's. Journal daily. Horizons. Not haunts. Fall harvest. Book sequel pitched. Dawn's debris. Rebuilding after the gale. Agent. Less storm. More sun. Readers crave hope.
Hope.
Horizon dawned clear. But American, controversial close. Ray's full pardon petition. Governor's desk. My letter attached. Winds changed him. Us. Decision pending. December. Kids' Christmas. Impala garlanded. Drive to lights. Windshield wipers swish regret. Elena. Dawn's here. Tommy. Claim it.
Claimed.
Pardon granted New Year's Eve. Ray free. No asterisk. Press conference. Second chances. American as pie. Backlash. Pardon the con petitions.
Protests.
We weathered. Brownstone Sanctuary. 2028 bloomed. Riverborn April Fools. Joke on the ghosts. Windward National. Franchises in Detroit. Baltimore Milltown echoes. Ethical. Ray Godfather. His toast. To debris turned dawn.
Dawn.
But twist twilight. Deathbed call. Rita. Cancer like dads. Attic last. Jack's tape. Final. Played in hospice. His rasp. Tommy. Ray, forgive the gale. Loved you both.
Crooked.
Horizon's yours. Forgave. Buried Rita Spring. Plot by moms. Full circle. Winds gentle now. Debris dawn lit. Year spool. Harlow college bound. Mechanic like Gramps but green EV certs. Jack artist. Fables illustrated. River engineer. Bridges over rivers haunted no more. Elena Dean. Your empire. Ray retired. Boca bungalow. Clean flips for habitat.
Me.
Windward CEO. Memoir trilogy. TED Talk. From storm to dawn. Betrayal's gift.
Gift.
Controversial still. Panels debate. Redemption real. Or rigged. No consensus. As it should. No one's fully right. Wrong gray dawn. Final horizon. Villa sunset. Rented again. Grandkids chasing waves.
Ray.
Frail but fierce. Full circle. Nephew. Circle. Winds whisper. Yes. American dark. Tense. Twisted. Triumphant in debris.